Welcome to GenZ Talks. This is your host, Ryan Solomon, the head of community and content at Entre. At Entre, we built a social network for entrepreneurs, investors, creators, and freelancers. Every week, this show is recorded live on Entre, and I get to interview the most ambitious and young entrepreneurs and investors from around the world. And if you'd like to be a part of our next episode of GenZ Talks, maybe even get to come up on stage and ask a question, make sure to head over to joinentre.com and register for GenZ Talks. Now that that's out of the way, it's time to kick things off. Let's go. Today I have Jamey Gannon, who is one of the founders of Continuum. I'm going to let her touch a little bit on what that is and what she's working on. But every week I get to interview some incredible Gen Z founders, investors, builders, makers, marketers, you name it. So I'm super excited for this because me and Jamey met through TikTok and then through Twitter and now through Entre. And I'm super excited to dive in. So Jamey, if you want to introduce yourself and share a little bit about yourself and Continuum.
Yeah, okay, so I'm Jamey, co-founder of Continuum. I'm a designer, creative, social media manager, creator, lots of different things. But I guess to say what Continuum is, we're basically a Web3 social platform for creatives. So we want to become the best place to learn and share the creative business. Kind of like the reason we started it is like we saw there's all this amazing creators out there, posting like graphic design tips, social media tips, branding tips, business tips, freelance tips, whatever. I'm one of those people. But it just kind of sucks the way that things work now for creators and for learners. Like on the creator end, you don't get paid. It's kind of like social media is just really not built for this. Same thing for learners. Like you can't take quizzes, can't track your progress, can't take advantage of all this wonderful content and community. So that's what we kind of want to fix at Continuum. And make it super cool and equitable for everyone with tokens. So yeah.
I'm super excited. I remember when we last talked, there's a lot of exciting things. We're going to dive into it a little bit more. And one thing I wanted to ask too is before we dive into that, could you touch a little bit on your background before you got into Continuum? And also for context, Jamey's only 19 and she's already killing it as a young founder. It makes me wonder what I was doing when I was 19. Probably not too much, but so I'd love for you to touch on kind of where you were before jumping into startups, and then kind of how you got to where you are now and what the future looks like.
Yeah. So only 19. So not too much background to talk about. I'll just start from the beginning. So I actually left high school early. I graduated at 16 because it just kind of sucks, After that, I was introduced to design and branding kind of just through like YouTube University. Again, the amazing creative ecosystem out there. And just started learning a lot about it and fell in love with branding. I loved how it was creative, yet so intellectual. So kept following with that. Then I started working at Starbucks. They had this awesome program where they paid for like online college. So dabbled in that a little bit. But as I was in school, I really started working on building up like my Instagram and becoming a freelancer. So in December, I was able to, December 2020, I was able to quit Starbucks, go full-time freelance. Then I dropped out of college. So yeah, my whole career basically has been like freelancing. So it's great now to be able to like give back to that community and like build things that I wish that I would have had when I was like just starting out. In terms of like how I got in the startup world, right when I left Starbucks and was like, starting like my full-time business, I told myself I really wanted to like learn more about tech in 2021. Like that was one of my goals to like work with more tech startups. I got a lot more than I bargained for. But I just got on tech Twitter somehow. I think I was introduced by to some tech Twitter people through like a client I was working with, but I found Gen Z VCs and I was just perusing for some clients in there, as all freelancers do. And I found my co-founder, Jason, talking about Continuum, which was then a SaaS product for freelancers, but I just cold emailed him about, like, hey, do you need any help with like TikTok or social media? Like, love the vision, would love to help out. And we just really hit it off. And over a couple of weeks, we worked really well together. And then he offered me a co-founder position. So yeah.
That is awesome. So wait, you said you dropped out of high school. You dropped out of high school or you graduated early?
I got my GED. I mean, basically dropped out, but yeah.
I love that. So out of high school, 16, then drops out of college, does design work, and then kind of like stumbles their way into Gen Z VCs and just startups.
Yeah.
That's honestly super cool because I think
for sure.
that's just the power of community right there. Where if Megan Lois didn't decide to make that Slack channel, it's actually really funny. Right before
Yeah.
this, I was looking at that and looking at a couple of things. That's really the power of community and just like kind of like stumbling in and who you know and what you know. Because I remember for myself, like I wasn't on tech Twitter for a while. Like my Twitter was just like people from high school and BS, and then I kind of switched it off and deleted the old one, got a new one, and followed all the right people, and it
Yeah.
changes everything.
I had like a stan Twitter pre like what 2018. I made like my professional Twitter. It was all just like crazy stan stuff. So yeah, I definitely did a new one too.
No, I feel that. So, and then kind of to touch a little bit more on Continuum, I want to touch a little bit on that transit. Actually, no, we'll hold that question for a bit. So like I said earlier, we actually met through TikTok, and I kind of want you to touch a little bit first on why you think founders, I know me and you both tweet about it all the time, and how founders should be on, not necessarily founders, startups. Because like founders are busy, maybe it shouldn't be the founder. For me, like that's part of my role at Entre. Like our founder doesn't really do TikTok, but why do you think more founders should be on TikTok, and what kind of success have you seen?
I mean, it's just kind of a no-brainer. Like, I mean, why would you not? It's like, I don't even know how I would. It's like, I think interesting how people will say like digital marketing instead of like social media, or there's like social media managers. There's like a delineation between those terms. Like, I don't even know, like, I mean, I know there's like SEO and stuff like that, but like marketing to me now is 100% social media. Yeah, so I mean, if you want to reach your customers, you have to go to where they are, and that's on TikTok. I mean, I would say Gen Z, but it's really like everyone now. It's like a huge audience and just going to keep growing. And also like the organic reach is crazy too, from like a time and money standpoint. I mean, I've seen some creators or startups like they post one TikTok and it happens to like blow up, and that's it. Like that's there's Series A right there, or whatever like your goal is. Yeah, and I guess in terms of our success, like I want to focus on TikTok a lot more. I would love to be like one of those people that post like 3 times a day in 2022 for sure. But and the little success we have had from TikTok, like I mean, I think one time we got like 40K views in a video, and it was like 400 signups or something insane. Like the conversion rate is like super great in my opinion. Yeah.
No, I feel that a ton. So, for us, like it's been absolutely huge, and like that's one of the things we bonded everyone. Like I was saying on Twitter, is just like I think every founder should do it, mainly because it can be time consuming depending on what your content is. But a lot of people, I tell them like literally just whip out your phone, say something to the camera, and post it. See how it goes. Do that every day for a month.
Someone just said TikTok is how you stay relevant to youth, and that's so true. I've been thinking about this a lot recently, but TikTok like drives culture. I feel like like 2014 days, like everything was like Vine memes, or it was all like coming from Vine, and then I feel like it went to Twitter for a while, and then Instagram for a period of time with like the Kardashians and whatnot, and now everything is about TikTok. Every single meme that you see is from TikTok in some way. Like Bing Bong, like literally everything is from TikTok. So if you want to just like be in culture at this point, you have to be on TikTok. So of course that makes sense for brand owners.
I 100% agree with that. And I think it's funny that Instagram is last, as in like all the best memes start on TikTok or Twitter. Some start through Twitter, and then they end on Instagram. Instagram is like a day
like 3
late.
months late.
Like they're always so far behind. And then to kind of dive into, so I mean specifically for Continuum, obviously TikTok is like the best place for you attracting creators seeing what you're doing. And I see a lot of like, I've seen like Contra, I've seen Stand With Me, I've seen Beacons, myself. There's a handful of other founders that I see that do it really well. Stand With Me, Jay Hoovy. I'm not sure if you've seen his content. He kills it. Like he's definitely like a really good editor, and really scripts his videos. So I think his content is really good. There's a lot of people who've just been like absolutely killing it. And also another thing too is a lot of these creator economy startups I'm seeing getting creators on their cap tables, which I think is brilliant. Obviously a smart move. But I want you to dive a little bit into to explain to the listeners kind of what Continuum is a little bit deeper. You're saying it's for education, tokenizing. Like if I was someone who wants to learn how to get into creating content, being a content creator, what do you kind of see that working? I know you guys are doing a little bit of a pivot and have a lot of things moving, but what do you see that looking like?
In terms of someone wanting to become a creator, I'm actually really big on like developing resources to help them. Like I would love in 2022 when we have like a bigger team and some more resources to have like a workshop or almost like a creator accelerator. I actually just wrote a course the other day, kind of like, here's how you can be successful on Continuum, like where you should edit your videos, like this is information about our audience, stuff like that. But I think the creator economy is very interesting, specifically with like creatives. I always like mix up those terms. So like graphic designers, for example, I'll just use that. Like because we are so creative, it's just such a natural extension to start becoming a creator and start making content. And every single like designer or freelancer has an Instagram, and they are creators kind of like by proxy because they promote their services, they share their portfolio, they like to share their work. So I think that's why Continuum can be so huge, because everyone in our space is a creator. Even now with like Twitter, like everyone in tech is a creator in a sense. Everyone has value that they can share, and they do share it. So yeah, I mean, a big theme with Continuum also is like democratization. So like, I think a big hurdle for some creators to kind of like, or freelancers, for example, to justify becoming a creator, which is essentially like giving back to their community and like helping other people and mentoring other people, is like there's no incentive. Like, I mean, sometimes you get like clients and whatnot from Instagram, but in terms of like the actual content, like these platforms are just not built for real community and real education, and kind of like fostering those discussions and growth. So at Continuum, like if we can provide creators the tools to monetize better, actually giving them an audience to get started with, which is super hard when you're just talking to no one, and then there's no feedback loop and you can't get content ideas and whatnot. And then also giving learners like more reason to continue to engage with their content and like go back to it and even just remember. I mean, it's so hard. It's so like easy to like just completely forget about creators on TikTok. Like I follow like 7,000 people on TikTok or something insane. Probably more like 1,000, like 500. But like it's just so easy to like get distracted on these platforms too. It just doesn't help the creators. Yeah, I guess my point was like democratization is like a big thing at Continuum, on many different points, but I'll probably ramble a lot in this interview.
No, you're fine. And to touch on that a little bit, so I dropped the link to your site, Continuum.xyz, in the room chat, right on the landing page. It says, earn crypto and level up your career. Continuum is the best way to share and learn the creative business. So I know you're still kind of putting together on the crypto side of things and tokenization, but I'd love for you to touch a little bit on how you're seeing that coming together. Because I know the last time we talked, you were like, I'm literally about to have a meeting about this. So I'd love to learn a little bit more.
Yeah. So we just got like our tokenomics in. I mean, really, it's just about like incentivizing people. Like we want people to have like a reason or like, I guess with like upskilling, for example, like there's not really like a lot of incentivization to do that besides like, oh, like maybe like these skills get me more clients. But with the tokens, like we're basically telling learners like, hey, if you get better, if you engage with the community, like that's super valuable, and here's like a tangible piece of value that you can get with that. And the way that we're going to be like deploying that, probably later in 2022, is just like anytime, I'm not sure the exact like, Jason is doing all the crazy like economic stuff with it still, and we're consulting with our lawyers, but anytime you like watch a bit, which is like basically like our version of a TikTok, and like you take the quiz or you take the associated like feature that comes with that, whether it's like adding something to your calendar or filling out a workshop or a worksheet or something like that, you'll get a token or a fraction of a token. And same for creators, like the more content you post, you'll get more tokens. If you do a post that gets like really great engagement, like 100 likes, you get a post, or I mean you'll get a token. Or if you post like 100 bits, or like if you post your first course, then maybe you'll get like a token advantage.
Yes. So to jump in, I kind of imagine this as like a mix. It's a creative two-sided marketplace where there's educators that are coming on, and they're incentivized to create not only educational video content, but also quizzes, call to actions, things that creators can do
Yeah.
Then on the flip side of that, there are creators, like young novice creators that are looking to maybe create the first YouTube video or create the first TikTok or whatever that is. And they come on, and whenever they take these courses or they watch this content, maybe take the quiz, whatever that is, they're being rewarded for actually completing those tasks. And almost both sides of the marketplace are building an on-chain resume.
Yeah. Yeah. We're actually looking into credentialing. Like this week, we've been talking a lot about that. We've been speaking with some like other freelance platforms too, with like how can we work together to be like, if you sponsor like a course, or like there's some creator and like, you know, you really like their course and you want your users to take it, like having that credential and then being able to only sign up for your platform if they have like that certain credential like on the blockchain, stuff like that. It's such an interesting like use case, and I'm really excited to start like actually putting that in the roadmap.
And you go.
Sorry, you go.
All right, now, I was just gonna say, I found this platform where you can literally, I forget what it's called. One of my friends sent it to me, where you can gate a link with NFT. So basically, if I sent you a link to like a certain web page on Entre, there would be you would have to put in your wallet address, and then it would check if you have whatever NFT or whatever token or whatever you need. So that's just the easiest way to gate people from doing that.
Yeah,
but,
I think it's sorry, I think it's interesting for like well, I have a lot to say about being self-taught. I'm self-taught, and I think everyone is technically self-taught in some regard, and we need to kind of like create a new word for that, or just discard the word at all. But I think, you know, there is a need for some kind of credentialing. I think it's important for like the business owners that are looking to hire freelancers, especially if like they're younger, or just like freelancers that are trying to like, it's just hard to kind of like market yourself as self-taught. So if we could give them the opportunity to be like, I've learned all this and like here's like proof of that, I think that'll like open up so many doors for them and hopefully kind of change the way that people think about like being an autodidact too.
No, I 100% agree with that. And I know when we talked, like, I've been going very heavy into DAOs a lot, like learning, kind of jumping into as many as I can, popping around, seeing what's going on. And one of the things I've been hearing from a lot of different people through podcasting, they're like, a lot of people will be like, I don't like saying this is a DAO and then this isn't a DAO because it's such a like broad encompassing term, right? Do you kind of see Continuum, I guess, becoming like a DAO-like structure? Because from the way I'm seeing it is, it's like, if you do this work, you get paid out in these tokens. Like if X, then Y. It's all programmable. Like the way I look at DAOs is they're like, actually crypto in my head I see as programmable money. DAOs I look at as programmable communities.
Yeah. So the tokens will give people utility and governance like over the platform. Again, still working all this out. But yeah, I think it's super important that we have, I guess I'll call it a DAO. I'm not sure if like if there's any like specifics how to be a DAO, but if you have tokens, you'll be able to vote on stuff. So DAO in that case, I think it's really important, especially because like we're very much a social platform and that's kind of like the basis of how everything works. It's really important that because creators are building the platform, they're creating value of like they're literally doing everything. So it's super important that creators like have a say in what happens. Like with Instagram, for example, like I think they just a couple of weeks ago they just allowed like desktop upload, like insane, like absolutely insane. That something like that is so like useful for creators like took so long to happen, and I think like giving creators the ability to like propose things or vote on things is super important. Like there's just always shit that happens on Instagram. I'm just like, why would you do that? Like they changed like the story sharing feature to be something with like 3 extra steps, and like if they had asked any creators to vote on that like meaningfully, I don't think that would have happened. So I think it's really important that that's available. Yeah.
No, 100%. I agree with that. Like, I think there's a lot of product decisions that I look at from a lot of big tech companies, and they always baffle me. Where I'm like, who approved this? iOS, especially, great example, not directly related. iOS 15 FaceTime, garbage. Whoever designed that,
I need to update my phone so bad.
They need to be fired. That's a mess, but that's a whole nother topic. And then I wanted to go into like the creator economy more broadly. Where do you see, actually 2 questions. One, who are your favorite creators right now?
Oh God.
and why? And then where do you see the creator economy in the long term?
I literally DM'd like 100 creators today. Um, I can't even begin to tell you my favorite one, because I watched so many goddamn videos. What was the second question?
So I'm gonna dive in this. You got to say at least a couple that you're like at least impressed with or you love, or like
Oh,
any
impressive.
creators.
Definitely, I've been thinking a lot about bonus footage. His name is Tom, so at bonus footage on TikTok. He makes really awesome stuff. I mean, all the creators on Continuum, obviously, download the beta. Yeah, like Luigi, he does really great. It's like at Luigi Salas _ He does really amazing like pixel art animation, like blows my mind. Designed by Shine. Ginger, the Divine Social. She does really like baddie stoner business tips, which I
Mhm.
think there's such a need for that. Like I have so many like, like girlies I know from high school that could really vibe with like someone just like coming down to kind of like their level. It's like, let's start a business. Like let's vibe. I love that kind of stuff. I love people that like really make like a specific niche for themselves and like lean into it. By Beyond Studio. They have really great reels. Leche.studio. Again, I could probably go all day,
Yeah,
but yeah,
I,
that's a couple just to start. A lot of them
I
are on Continuum, so.
I love that you said bonus footage first.
Mhm.
Tom Boyd. I actually had him on a couple months ago. Great dude, great
Oh, nice. He
energy.
just had a baby.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's awesome. He's such a nice guy, and his content is like you can tell he really puts a lot of
he's a
thought
genius.
and effort
Yeah.
into all of his videos. Like they're so good. Definitely look him up on TikTok. Bonus footage. I had a one-on-one with him a while back, and me and him like immediately clicked, and I was like, dude, I need you on
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Um,
He's so awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, I
he's
need
a
to DM him.
good human. Yeah, I gotta follow up with him too. He's on here somewhere. And then another thing, the next question was, um, what would be your? Is honestly a little bit on the spot. Um, where do you see the creator economy going, and kind of what's your big predictions for it?
Um, I have a opinion. I think that like there's gonna be a blurring between like what's a startup, who's a creator, who's a startup, who's a founder. Like these labels are gonna like completely dissolve. Like I said kind of before, like everyone's going to be a creator. Every startup is going to have a creator. There's going to be the face of every single startup, like on TikTok or whatever. So yeah, that's like where I think the future is going. I think there's going to be a lot more like TikTokers in tech. It's such an interesting problem to solve because if you're like for Entre, for example, you need someone who's good at TikTok, but also has like a deep understanding of like business and entrepreneurship. And typically these kind of people that have, very deep understandings, they want to stay in their industry. They like it. So it's really hard to find these creators for specific startups. So I think like designers or developers who like decide like I want to be a creator, they're gonna be able to charge like whatever they want. Like they're gonna be the next like unicorn. I guess people. I think before it was like designers that can code or whatever, but now it's going to be like designers that can, be social media managers and create TikTok content or like Discord managers, something like that.
No, that's what I was gonna.
Community. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was gonna touch on both of those. So like I 100% agree with that. And whenever you said like having somebody who's not only good at creating content but also knowledgeable, it's
Yeah.
really difficult
Mhm.
to find people, especially not even just like startups. Like I know some people that are like, I'm looking for someone that can do like content on crypto, and I'm like, dude, everyone is right.
Yeah.
In
There's a
real,
lot of creators.
yeah, there's a lot of creators, and it's funny because like the creators that are just doing it for like fun, like they're like, I don't want to join a startup and have like a job and
Yeah.
this whole thing. Like they'll be like, I'll do some side hustle or some side hustle income, but like they're like, I just want to do my own thing, because they're like, I love it. Like one of my friends,
Yeah.
like Mac and Cheesy, Austin Mac and Cheese. I always mess his name up. Listen, it's Austin. I'm sorry, dude. But he's been killing it, and he's got a Discord community. He's not trying to like do anything crazy or scale it, but he's just like has an awesome community that he loves, that he manages, and also does TikTok, and he's loving it. He has a 9 to 5 at. He's a software engineer, so he does that through his income, but he just does all of this stuff as a passion,
That's
which
cool.
is a really good space. And then also, do you see like the intersection between like community and creator economy as well?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's kind of like you can't talk about one without the other. I feel like honestly, again, with everyone is really a creator. I always find it interesting, like not to dig on anyone, but I feel like I see a lot of creators that they just like, oh, no DMs, like won't take DMs. Why are you making content then if you don't want to engage with the community? Like it's everything. I don't ever want to get too busy to not reply to my DMs, but yeah, I mean, I think, and in like a broader sense with like things like Rally too, like I think it's
Mhm.
really interesting to see like crypto X community, X creators like roll out. I mean, I've even had some like friends like roll out tokens. Like I'm kind of like starting to think about it, like what could I provide value to my audience with tokens with? But yeah.
No, I agree with that. And also like that goes into like DeSo as well, them having creator tokens and Royal. I think
Hmm.
both of them are killing it. I think we're gonna have the greatest shift of just liquidity that we've ever seen through tokenization,
Hmm.
Web3, and a couple other things. Um, and then I had another touch point on community. Oh, whenever you said like you hope you don't get to a point where you can't reply to your DMs. There was a founder, I can't remember the name of him for the life of me. The only thing I remember about him from a podcast is he bought Girl Boss, like he acquired it, uh,
Mm.
right? And he was talking about how he was getting so many DMs, or not so many DMs. He's getting so many emails as an investor, and he used to like reply to every single one very intentionally, really thoughtful, and then it just got like so out of hand that what he did is he made like a monthly event where you could only come to it if you donated. So all the money would go to a charity. It's like you had to put in at least $10 and you would come and then you go be able to ask a question or like come up on stage and like talk to him. I forget how it
Good
totally
idea.
formulated, but he just raised like thousands of dollars for various different charities from doing that. And I think it's a good way to be both accessible and impactful, because you think at scale, like there's just some people that like it's just impossible,
Yeah.
right? You know,
Um, I've seen people do like Patreons. It's like $5 a month. You get like priority like DM access, pretty much like stuff like that too. But
that,
I think it's so important. Like even if you are at scale, like you have to give opportunity to like speak to your community, or it's like nothing. Then you're just using them to get followers or client leads or whatever, which sucks.
no, I 100% agree with that. I think that's definitely a really good move because like also that's like you don't really care about like if you're at that level, you don't really care about the monetization side of things. You just care about more like having people that actually care and you giving them that
Yeah.
attention.
Just thinking about this, like at Continuum or like in Continuum, like that problem is already like the tokens literally solve everything. Like any problem that I can think about, it's like, oh well, we'll give creators tokens for responding to comments quickly. Like there. Like I love that we're Web3. It's so epic.
I know that's exactly how we feel with what we're building too. And that's actually what I was gonna jump into next is like so whenever we had talked, well, last time we talked about a little bit about Web3, and to touch on that a little bit more. So how does that tie into Continuum even more? Like what other feature sets do you see going into that? And then second question is like what excites you most? Like what excites you most about Web3 intersection with creator economy?
Yeah. Okay. So we touched on tokens. We touched on accreditation. Another thing we want to do is have just like kind of like hidden NFTs. Like if like to random people in the app, just like give them an NFT. Or maybe like if you complete a creator's course, like we auto generate an NFT. Um, things like that. In terms of like other Web3 things, I think on like the development side, like our CTO is working on, like kind of giving back to like the developer community and things like that. I think there was something he did with like our last like NFT launch that, if he released that could be like very helpful. Again, I am the opposite of like
Yeah.
coding developer girl, but yeah, I think the most exciting thing for me is really just the tokens again, man. Like the incentivization thing, I just think it's really going to work. Like, I think that's what communities and like these ecosystems of like educational things, like, I think it's just going to help it like blow up so much.
I 100% agree. Um, it's really crazy to see how I don't know. It's weird. So in my head, it's like whenever you start an LLC, right, and or a C corp, I guess, and someone
Hmm.
gives you $1 million for 10%. Now your company just went from being worth $1 million to being worth $10 million. Even if your company doesn't do anything, you don't have a product yet. You're now worth your company's now worth 10 million. And I see it very similarly becoming not necessarily like that, but kind of where with tokenization and DAOs, where it's like you're putting value behind a community, but it's also not just based off of the financial, not just people throwing money into it, but also the actual community and what people do
Yeah.
with it as well, which makes it so unique. So there's a lot of companies that I see that are going to be building out communities, NFTs. Um, a lot of things are about to change. Like I know me and you both talked about just how as soon as we went down the rabbit hole, everything just flipped.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it was like, well, I went to NFT NYC and I loved meeting everyone, but for me, it was like the ENS drop. That was like, oh, okay, like this is how this is what tokens can like really be. And I know it's very much like tied to like, the value that it is in like traditional dollars, but I think at this point, like we still kind of need those like, I mean, I'm still very new to Web3. Also, like I'm not even afraid to say that it's been like really like 6 months. But I think a lot, like half of tech Twitter is new to Web3. And I mean, I think in like March 2022, I think everyone is gonna have like a DAO in their bio or something, like it's on deck.
Oh,
Probably.
100%. I agree with that too. Yeah, no, I think it's weird. So like for myself, it was been like a month and a half, 2 months of like it's weird because I feel like for me, crypto, like I don't think there was a label for Web3 until I don't know, within the past year, right? For the past like 2 years or so, maybe three, like I've been investing in Bitcoin and Ethereum and have been seeing all these things happening, obviously following NFTs and just seeing how things are moving, but hadn't really like acted upon it. And
Yeah.
then once I listened to Chris Dixon and Naval on Tim Ferriss, that's
I remember that moment too, because I actually was part of an NFT project in like 2020, and it's like, yeah, NFTs, whatever, like post on my Instagram. Like I was just like, that's like my friend that did it is like very high fashion art kid. So I was like, oh, it's just a cool like artist thing. It's not for me. Then February 2020, wait, 2021. Everything's blending together. Something like
yeah.
that. Like I hear Gary Vee talk about it. For me, yeah, when Naval started talking about it, I was like, geez, now I have to learn about it. Because I was kind of like putting it off, like, oh, it's just some like deep tech cool person thing. But yeah, because I love listening to Naval, especially like all of his like past stuff, like I guess that like big YouTube thing of like the thread he turned to YouTube video. But yeah, once Naval started talking about it, I was like, shit, I got to
That's
learn.
no, I feel that 100%. Or you listen to him on Joe Rogan as well.
Yeah, that
He's
was so good.
interesting. He's such an interesting mind. Him and then Chris Dixon, who I didn't know very well until like diving into him a little bit more. It's weird. I was like, oh, I follow this guy on Twitter, and I was like looking at all his threads. I was like, oh wow, this guy really knows this stuff. And I 100% agreed. Like, it's funny. Every single founder I've talked to in probably the past 3 weeks has told me the exact same thing. Oh yeah, we're transitioning into Web3. Every single founder. It's absolutely wild, and then it's so funny because the general public right now does not know and or understand
Yeah.
what's about to happen. I'm not sure if you did the same, but I know on Thanksgiving I sat down my dad and my 88-year-old grandmother and was telling them about how Ethereum works and a bunch of other stuff.
It was hard enough explaining like the first version of Continuum to my grandmother, which was like a SaaS product. Which
Yeah.
anything even somewhat B2B is impossible to explain to family members, but maybe we'll see out. Maybe we'll see this Christmas. When I see a lot of founders positioning to Web3, I kind of want to be like a hater and be like, oh, like then they'll pivot out. But then again, like Web3 is the future, so probably not. Like it's going to be the norm. It seems kind of like radical when people do it now. It even like felt kind of radical for me at first. My co-founder Jason, he's a bit older than me, like really spearheaded it, and I was like, yeah, it's cool, but now I'm like fully like blue pilled or whatever into it. It's definitely the future.
It's weird because like I think it sounds like there's some parts of me that are still hesitant on it for a few reasons. Like, for example, one of the biggest things is like privacy. And it's like, okay, so privacy is great. And then it's like, but now everyone knows my wallet and like how much I have in my wallet. Because if I'm connecting my wallet to all my social accounts, like if you go on my mirror, right, you'll see my wallet address, right? So now it's not only like, is my wallet address public? It's like, here's all my NFTs, here's all my tokens, here's all the things I do, which I think is great for me be able to verify stuff, but it's like I kind of liked it whenever only Amazon and Google knew my stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like philosophical and ethical questions. I think one thing, I mean, we were just talking about this the other day, me and Jason, but like, for example, like obviously we're gonna have like login with wallet, but because there's tokens and because you know, you get tokens from doing actions, like how can we prevent some like a freaking like DAO farm in China from popping up and just like absolutely wrecking us? And like, you know, considering like what kind of verification methods can we use, like what can we build into the app to do that? But yeah, I think I tweeted something the other day. Oh no, someone commented on my TikTok like I was talking about DAOs and they go, how couldn't someone, a rich person, just like pay everyone in the DAO to vote a certain way? And I was like,
Yep.
well, yes. I mean, we're not changing society. We're changing like very, well, I guess a very big like way that we interact with each other. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to do and a lot of questions that I cannot answer. But
Well, I think so the blog I recently wrote on DAOs a little bit touched on that, is like the current problem is like it's kind of pay to play, right? Where like it depends on what DAO you join, right? But like for Constitution DAO or for I don't know, friends with benefits, things like that, like you have to pay a certain amount to get in, and based off of the amount of tokens you have, the more governance you
yeah,
have, right? So it's like really the opposite of equitable. And also if it's on Ethereum, then like it's even less, you know, accessible.
yeah. I think
Um,
I think it was like friends with benefits, but they tweeted something like, "We now have a bid for like 5 ETH or like some crazy amount of ETH," and it was like $200,000. Like that's not. I don't want to see that. Like I don't really want
yeah.
to see that someone's buying a piece of art for that much. Like it's giving very much bourgeois, and that is like not what everything is about. And I think a lot of the space. I mean, it's just human nature to get obsessed with like the clout. Like Gary Vee talks about this a lot. Like 99% of like NFT things are like they're not going to do anything, and that's fine. But Web3 is so focused on cloud right now, and I'm not so excited for like the bear market, but I'm excited for things to like level out and be
Mm,
just so less focused on the money. Like, which is why I'm hesitant to say like the ENS thing excited me, because it's really just exciting because I got, you know, theoretically a lot of freaking money from it, but that's
yeah.
not, you know, why I should be excited about this kind of technology.
And to that point, I think a lot of NFTs are just straight up cash grabs. As
Yeah,
in,
yeah,
like the that's one of my biggest gripes right now is like some of them are building like real communities, right? Which is great, and they're actually have like some form of utility or like some form of just like I don't know, community focus, or they built a game or whatever that is. But I think there's so many people that are just like, all right, we have 50 grand to drop on marketing, and we're gonna sell out 10,000 NFTs, and that's gonna convert to $8 million, and then the five of us are gonna split it, and then we're just gonna
yeah.
dump the Discord, and we don't really care. Like that rug
And I
just
think
falling.
the public like feels that, like the public sees that, which is why I think, I mean, it's a big thing we're gonna have to overcome at Continuum. I think a lot of creatives are actually like surprisingly more like Web3 open than I expected, but I think it's still gonna be a hurdle for a good like like almost 50% of the market. It just like kind of easing them into it. I mean, even sometimes I feel silly like you'll earn tokens. Like there's just we got to get better language around it too, like crypto and whatnot. And yeah, overall the vibes and like the thing that makes the headlines in the space need to be a lot better, for sure.
No, that's one of the biggest problems right now is like people are associating just NFTs with like Beeple or Bored Apes,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or Doodles or VFriends. And like obviously those are like gold standards, I guess you could say, for
Mm-hmm.
the best ones, quote. But I think that's the issue too, is like the media. I honestly I think a lot of tech people just hate the media. I mean, I do personally,
Yeah,
for numerous reasons beyond
no,
just
for
this.
sure.
But I think this is a great example of where they're like $69 million for a JPEG. What is all the, you know? And they're just like hyping it up for clicks.
Dude, if you read, I was compiling some stuff for like our Web3 resources page. If you like go and you read just like the headlines and kind of like subtitles of a lot of these articles about like Constitution DAO, it's like group of yada yada fails to buy like it's always so
Mhm.
it's nasty out there.
No, and yeah, they just want clicks and they don't care about the authenticity, or they probably don't understand the underlying like importance or value of what that actually means.
Yeah.
Also, for specifically for Constitution DAO, like even though it was like a little bit of a shit show, still just respect for raising
Yeah.
$6 million in like 4 days based off a meme. Like that is something that is absolutely impressive. And now, did I
Definitely.
throw $25 in and pay $100 in gas? Hell yes, I did, because we the people.
I tried, but gas, I just can't. I can't with the gas. I would rather, like, if I'm gonna spend like $200 in ETH, I'd rather put that in my portfolio. Like, that's why I haven't bought a lot of NFTs because I just can't justify it. I don't think anyone really should, unless it's like a stellar project. But that's why I love Solana. I'm trying to get more into Solana. I got
And
Jamey.soul, so I'm like definitely.
see, I saw that. I was trying to get. I'm not sure if I had to look if Sully.soul is available, but Sully.eth,
Probably.
Sully.eth was not. And then I searched for like Sully does it all.eth because that's like a lot of my handle and a lot of things. And it was like $25. I was like, great, $200 in gas. And I was like, yeah, which is tough. So you can't win them all, but I think there's a lot of startups that are doing a lot of interesting things. I was actually talking to this founder today, who is building. He basically built a wallet where it has a layer. It's a layer 2 wallet for Ethereum, where you can send Ethereum with like little to no gas
Oh my
fees.
god, dude, that's another thing. People are like, just use like a layer 2 Polygon blockchain. It's so much easier. Like, I don't want to do that. Like I will, but like I've just heard again, which is like the names, like just use Polygon. Again, I'm not super like dev techie girly, but I just can't wait for like Ethereum 2 or just like to use Solana. Like it's so simple. It's like 0.01 and like Sol fees.
That is true. Now, that's where things get interesting too, is whenever people have that big debate. But my thing is that it's everything's going to be multi-chain. Everything's going to be connected one way or another.
Yeah,
Like,
but
and that,
I probably shouldn't be talking shit because I like understand so little about how like the function of that works. But maybe I will start using Polygon. I saw I actually reached out to an NFT, a new NFT platform that's on Polygon, I think. So
drop it in the chat. I might check it out.
I don't know that.
But no, to
Right there.
the point you made, I think having the I guess humbleness, or I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but to know what you don't know, that's one of the things
Yeah.
that I'm realizing myself, is just like, yeah, if I don't know something, I'm just gonna own the fact that I don't know
Yeah.
how.
I do not want to be called out.
Exactly, right. That's 100% how it is. But I'm still gonna share my thoughts and opinions on based on what I do understand and what makes sense to me. But like, I'll just be like, take everything with a grain of salt. Like, I'm still learning and talk about the things that do make sense to me. Which, for what makes sense to me, is DAOs and governance structures and all of that, because
Yeah.
that's very understandable. And as a community manager, it makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I love talking about the community aspect of DAOs. It's like super easy to kind of be like, these are the benefits. But once we start getting into like specific like blockchain stuff, or like the questions about like, well, couldn't someone just like, buy out everyone? Like, I just need to tag my like truly tech pro friends to answer those things.
No, I feel that. That's why you gotta have a couple blockchain friends, blockchain devs on hand, and just be like, can you like fix this or figure this out for me? No, I feel that. I'm looking at what else I have written down. I've covered a lot.
Has anyone ever asked you to like explain the blockchain? I thought I knew, and then my friend asked me, and I was like, oh well, just the layers or whatever. And then like he really had to just like explain it to me fully. But now I get it. Now I have like a good explanation for it.
There we go. I mean, I like to explain the technology more so as using Ethereum in transactions instead of explaining the actual blocks themselves. Like I start with that, as in if I want to send you money, or I give the analogy of like, all right, if I want to send you money on Venmo, I say, hey, I want to Venmo Jamey. My bank, it goes from my bank to my Venmo to your Venmo to your bank, right?
Yeah.
So 4 steps, and also like the network in between. And then I say Ethereum is from my wallet to the network to her wallet. And the network is a bunch of computers that are doing math. I explain that first.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and I say you just took out Venmo out of the picture, right? That's the explanation I like to use because like my dad's fiance understood that whenever I explained it. She's like 60 and she got it. And then I was like, for basically what's happening is the network is approving the transaction. Like whenever you do a Visa and you do a MasterCard, you do something on your credit card or your bank, there's transaction fees because it has to go to a server and they have to approve that transaction and make sure that you're sending money to another person and it's okay, right? And I explained that the blockchain is basically a long list of all of those transactions and you can't go back and change it. Explain the hash rate, or what's the word I'm looking for? Not hash rate, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to use like my friend gave me like this like diary analogy. So like Web2 is like you have all your secrets in your diary's locked in a drawer. If someone gets the key to that drawer, they get your diary. But in Web3 on the blockchain, you give 1,000 friends a piece of your diary. In order for someone to really get a good chunk of those secrets, you'd have to convince 50% of them to like give you those pieces, and that's like pretty much possible to do. That's the blockchain, hopefully.
I like that explanation.
Like
and I wanted to. We went on a Web3 rabbit hole over here, but I'm here with it. For back to Continuum a little bit, I want to ask, what does success for you with Continuum look like in 3-5 years?
3-5 years. I think Instagram for the creative community is like no longer a thing. Like literally, we are the platform to share and learn anything about becoming a creative, becoming an entrepreneur, becoming a freelancer, becoming a NFT artist. Everyone uses Continuum to post their content, get leads, find jobs, take courses from like big entities like Adobe or Figma, sell courses, sell coaching, sell memberships like Twitch or Patreon kind of style things. I just want to be like a centralized hub for the creative space that incentivizes everyone and promotes decentralized, centralized hub for the community, the creative community. I'd love to have there's also like a lot of like independent course creators on. There's like so many different platforms. There's Skillshare, there's Udemy, there's yada yada yada. Like all of them in one place for free. That's another thing about Continuum. We're free for creatives and for creators. We'll make money through like enterprise contracts. Yeah, decentralized, centralized hub. I like that.
No, that's solid.
And like we're gonna kill like art school.
You're gonna kill art school.
We're gonna kill art school, and MBAs maybe.
I like that a lot. I think that's
change the world, and everyone can make money and be happy.
See, we have a lot of overlap between you guys, between your team and Entre, because I don't think people need to go to college. Like I think so. One of my biggest things, like this, I'm sure you agree with this, is like as someone who dropped out of college, is I think college, their biggest problem is that the private industry is gonna smoke them. Like, and it's not from
oh my God, yeah.
It's not just from like one, like, oh, this is a replacement from college. Like we have a new university, it's a private university. It's more about all the different avenues that are available now. So whether it's going to Continuum and learning how to be a creator, or it is going on Code Academy and learning how to be a coder, or going on Lambda School, like all these different options are just opening up the doors to.
Yeah, like I think literally, like price is like one. Like if you can compete on price, you've already beaten college. But we're also going to be competing on like time, speed, community, like being specific for like what you actually need, the actual kind of content that like we're teaching, like up to date stuff on like Web3, social media, like whatever the hell is next. Like it's gonna be so. I completely agree with that. Like college is gonna become so redundant unless you're going to like med school or you want the college experience or something.
I will say, so that's one thing I will say about Penn State is there's two parts of it. One is there is a community at Penn State Penn State's a little bit of a cult. That's a good cult. Penn State football games, I'm so happy I went for. I'm so happy I went for Thon at Penn State, which is the world's largest student-run philanthropy. There's like certain experiences at college that are not easily replicable without like, I don't know, I think that's where more like actually Barry Weiss, if you're familiar with who that is, I think she was a New York Times reporter. She left, did her own thing. Her and a handful of other people are all starting a new university that they're trying to like flip on its head from what typical college education is like, down in Austin, Texas. So I think more people like that are going to, I mean, that's obviously just a start, but I think people that are going to try and take education and flip it on its head, change it up, make it new, and also affordability is important, but it's also really difficult to do that at scale, or not even at scale, but like to start, because you're doing that based off of the price of real estate, and it's just not easy. Because a lot of the cost of education is room, board, like room and board, right? And it's like, how do you fix, like, that's just not something you can easily fix. But
and also another thing that's not talked about a lot is just like admin fees. I'm sure you can write articles about this, but there's like VP of VP of VP of VP. Like there's just
bureaucracy.
So many useless, bureaucracy positions that like drive up the cost. Yeah, I'm really excited. Like I'm not that I'm like anti-college, but like I'm very much proud to be part like a leader in that conversation. Because I think people definitely need it. If like you can't afford to go, like I'm gonna empower you to like be like, yeah, fuck yeah, like you don't have to do that, and I'm gonna give you the tips and I'm gonna give you the help to do that. I love it.
And to that exact point, I think one thing that people don't realize is how, what's the word I'm looking for? Like how accessible people are. As in, if you reach out and ask for help on something, you would be baffled at how many people are willing to help you.
Yeah, especially creators. I made like a TikTok on this. Like creators are always looking for content. They're always looking for like this person I just talked to, like, and make a TikTok about it. Like, I'm gonna post it too, but like ask creators questions, they will answer you. I think that's so true.
No, they're fantastic. Creators and just like founders, like there's so many people that like I love to reach out to, and like people are super helpful, yourself included, obviously. Please hit up Jamey in her DMs if you want to talk about content.
I will respond to my DMs. Yeah.
Yes. So no, like it's, and like you said, you hit up 100 creators today. Hopefully a lot of them responded. I'm sure most of them did. And we're interested in what you're doing. But yeah, and I also wanted to kind of get close to wrapping up here. I wanted to ask if you have any one piece of advice for any founder or creator. We would actually do more of a creator, right? Founder / creator, because they're kind of, they do, like you were saying earlier, you want them to be synonymous one day, because I do see creators as entrepreneurs. What kind of advice would you give someone who wants to be a content creator going into 2022?
This is kind of like specific to some things we've been doing at Continuum recently. We've been working with this coach called Danny, or his name is Danny. We've been doing some sessions on like imposter syndrome and like fixed mindset. Actually the book right here. So like just like start working on like your mindset and kind of like what is like healing your inner child, like all that kind of like BS, because it really does like affect your ability to like be happy when you wake up in the morning, or like, you know, with like founders especially, like feeling confident and feeling good about yourself and like terms of like making decisions. For creators too, just like know anyone can make content. If you're like one day ahead of someone, like you can be helpful to them, and like you can make content that'll be useful to them. So I would say check your imposter syndrome, check your mindset. Yeah.
I love that. No, that's, imposter syndrome is definitely a big thing, especially within Gen Z. I know I see it on tech Twitter a lot too. A lot of people who like come off like they know what they're doing, then you talk to them a little bit and they're like, dude, I'm scared shitless, you know?
Literally me.
Right yeah, now. No, and I think it's like a normal thing. I think it's okay. I think it's okay to have it a little bit, or like maybe you were really prepared for like this certain scenario, then you put yourself into something else. And you're like, oh my god, this is way more than I expected, and and I think to your point, I think like I don't know, it's like accepting some of it. You're like, it's okay that I'm not perfect at everything. It's okay that I'm not 100% on top of my game for every single aspect of my career or my life. Like, it's okay to have a little quarter life crisis here and there. So, but I love that piece of advice. Jamey, where can people find you if they want to reach out and connect?
Yeah, Jamey Gannon everywhere, Jamey. Join my Discord. at Continuum, which is discord.gg/Continuum.xyz. And download the beta. And all my socials, you can find the link to it, Test Flight or Android. That'd be super helpful. Get some feedback on the app if you want to post some content on the app. But yeah, that's me.
Amazing. Well, absolute pleasure having you on.
Yeah,
I will make sure to tag you everywhere whenever this goes out and get it out in front of our community. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of GenZ Talks. Make sure to connect with me and thousands of other entrepreneurs, investors, and creators over at joinentre.com. Or you can download our mobile app for both iOS and Android. Also, don't forget to follow us on social at joinentre.